Our story opens today in the post office at Frostbite Falls, Minnesota, a tiny Northwoods hamlet with a total population of 48.
Of course, that's during the summer rush.
This is the postmaster, James J. Nearly, sorting the mail. Here is the pigeonhole belonging to the town's most illustrious citizen, Rocket J. Squirrel. Next to it, the pigeonhole belonging to his pal, Bullwinkle Moose. And next to that, the pigeonhole belonging to... well, who are you?
What else? I'm a pigeon.
But it is the spot belonging to Bullwinkle that we're interested in. For going into it right now is a letter which will change the whole course of Rocky and Bullwinkle's lives.
And if that's not a good beginning to a story, I don't know what is.
Just then, the door swung open.
Hi, Mr. Nearly. Any mail today?
Well, I put your fan mail in those 2 sacks there, Rocky.
Fine.
Nothing for me, I suppose.
Matter of fact, you do have one letter, Bullwinkle.
I do? Now, who do I know that can write?
Open it, Bullwinkle. It may be important.
Oh, I wish you hadn't said that, Rock. Now I'm too nervous to open it.
Okay, I will. It's from a New York law firm.
That's pretty bad right there.
My dear Mr. Moose.
That's me, all right.
This is to inform you that your Uncle Dewlap passed on last month.
Uncle Dewlap?
Gee, I'm sorry, Bullwinkle. Were you very close?
I never heard of him.
Says here he was your uncle twice removed.
Twice removed?
Once for vagrancy and once for loitering.
I still never heard of him.
He's left you an inheritance that...
Oh, that Uncle Dewlap!
You remember him now?
Remember my favorite in-law? Oh, shame, Rock. What'd he leave me?
Let's see. It's a mine.
It's a yours. He was my uncle.
No, he left you a mine. A claim to a mine.
Hot diggity, where is it?
Says here it's on the slopes of Mount Flatten.
Mount Flatten?
What's wrong with him?
Hey, Mr. Nearly. Gee, he's really canceled.
Mount Flatten must be a scary place.
Who cares? I'm the proud owner of a genuine gold mine. Let's go find it.
Bullwinkle dashed gleefully from the post office, followed by Rocky. Neither of the boys was aware of a skulking figure that silently slunk after them.
Wait up, Bullwinkle. It doesn't say gold mine.
Gold mine, diamond mine, who cares?
But at that moment, a short way behind them, the sinister figure drew back its arm and a big knife flashed in the sunlight.
Hey, be careful there. That's no way to treat a good knife.
Bullwinkle, there's a message on it.
2 letters in one day, how about that?
This one doesn't sound so good. To Moose it may concern. Keep away from Mount Flatten or you will die slowly, horribly. Signed, a friend. Well, that does it, Bullwinkle.
It does?
Yep. This letter means that mine must be worth an awful lot, and somebody's really going to try to keep us away from it.
Yeah. Oh, well, we can always go back to being turnip ranchers.
No, sir, Bullwinkle. We're going to go to Mount Flatten and claim that claim.
I'm with you, Rock. Hand me my suitcase.
Little did Bullwinkle know that inside his suitcase was a charge of TNT wired to go off as soon as he opened it. Well, will our hero's adventure stop before it even starts? And who or what is that mysterious knife-throwing stranger? Don't miss our next episode, Big Bomb at Frostbite Falls, or The Exploding Metropolis.
Long ago, in 1888, which may not seem long to you unless you were born then, there was a young lad named Jack. Jack had come to the big city to try out for a baseball team, the Boston Beavers. The Beavers were a great team managed by that legendary figure, Big Lip Leo.
Men, we really got a great ball club here.
Yeah!
There's only one little thing keeps us from being a top team in the country.
What's that, sir?
We've never won a game.
True. In 10 years of competition, the Beavers had never won a single game. But then, Jack joined the team. He had an ace up his sleeve that very well could revolutionize the game of baseball.
Yeah, these magic beans. They'll make me the greatest baseball player in the whole world. At least, I think they will.
Jack was soon to find out, for the following day found Jack's team playing their first game of the season against the Poughkeepsie Pirates. Thanks to some quick thinking in the grandstand, the Beavers led 4-3 in the ninth. If the next man could be struck out, it would be all over and the game would be theirs. Jack was in center field, tensely awaiting the next move. The next Pirate stepped up to the plate. There came the pitch and... Oh, my, he connected beautifully.
There goes the old ball game.
But that's when Jack sprang into action. He quickly pulled out one of his magic beans, planted it, watered it, and then jumped on top of it. There was a rumble, a roar, and before everyone's startled eyes, Jack was carried skyward on a huge beanstalk that grew straight up into the air, and he caught the ball.
You're out!
The fans went wild. The game was over, and the Boston Beavers had finally won a game. Big Lip Leo changed the name of the team to the Boston Beans. And in the weeks that followed, they went on to win game after game with the help of Jack and his magic beans. Jack was now the most valuable member on the team.
Jack, my boy, sweetheart, you are a cotton-picking jewel.
I know.
And he became very famous. Then came the big day for the final game of the season, and they were to play the Giants.
They're gonna be mighty tough to beat, boy.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, but we can do it, kid. All you gotta do is stay on the bean.
The game was on, and it was a fight to the finish right from the start. The Giants were smashing ball after ball high over center field, but Jack always managed to zoom up on his beanstalk and catch them on the fly.
You're out!
The Boston Beans played as they had never played before. The scores shot higher and higher until the last half of the ninth inning, it was even up, 66-66. The Giants had the bases loaded. A home run could win them the game.
Now listen, you guys. You gotta do something about that wise guy out there with the beans, and I got a plan. Now here's what we do. Whitey, you take the first.
Oh, Jack knew that they were up to something, but he had a magic bean already in his hand and was ready for anything. Then the Giants made their move. They sent Whitey Goober, the biggest hitter on the Giants team, up to bat. A gasp fell over the stadium. Gasp! The fans knew that if Mighty Whitey ever connected with the ball, it would go a mile. Jack knew this too, and just to make sure, he took out an extra bean. Whitey stepped up to the plate. The ball was pitched.
Strike one!
Jack, getting more and more nervous by the minute, decided to use 3 beans and play it real safe. The ball was pitched again.
Strike two!
This was it. The next ball would tell the tale. Whitey was certain to swing at the next ball, and Jack, not willing to take any chances at this point, took out a whole handful of beans. Silence hung over the park like a cloud. The pitcher went into his windup and pitched the ball. Jack, not waiting until the last minute, went into action. He planted the beans, hopped on top, and shot up into the sky on the biggest beanstalk of all at tremendous speed. But Mighty Whitey, instead of slamming into the ball, he just gave it a dainty tap, and it dribbled out into the center field. Of course, Jack was much too high to do anything about it.
I goofed!
The Boston Beans were cooked. The game was over, and the Giants won 70-66. Well, there was no joy in the clubhouse that night. And what happened to Jack? Well, that big beanstalk carried him straight up into the sky for hundreds of miles until it finally poked through a strange cloud where Jack saw a huge castle.
Fee-fi-fo-fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman.
Fee-fi-fo-fum. You know, I had a feeling we'd get around to this sooner or later.
Last time, you remember, Bullwinkle inherited a mine from his Uncle Dewlap. Nobody seemed to know what kind of mine it was, but somebody sure wanted to keep our boys away from it. But whoever it was didn't reckon on the determination of our heroes, for with more courage than brains, they started to pack.
Nobody's gonna scare us, eh, Bullwinkle?
No, not you anyways, Rock. Besides, what can happen to us here in our own little home, sweet home?
But unbeknownst to Bullwinkle, a can of TNT had been placed inside his suitcase, wired to go off as soon as he opened it. And a little way from the house, a mysterious figure seemed to be waiting for the explosion.
Come on, Bullwinkle, I'm almost packed.
In a second, Rock. I can't get this catch undone.
Here, try the screwdriver.
Come on now, doggone it.
But the boys fussed and fumed over the suitcase to no avail.
Maybe if I just sort of kicked it a little.
And with his mighty hoof, Bullwinkle booted the suitcase clear out of the window. Down the hill it went, and as it landed beside the skulking figure, the lid flew open.
No, no!
What was that, Rock?
I'm not sure, but I think you need a new suitcase.
Gee, I don't know my own strength.
No, Bullwinkle. It must have been full of dynamite or something.
Well, I always did get a big bang out of traveling. Dynamite.
Yeah.
Well, I know travel's supposed to be broadening, but this is ridiculous.
A short while later, the intrepid adventurers were on their way. Little did they know that sharp eyes were watching them from a high vantage point. A few days later, they were speeding through some pretty desolate country.
How do we know when we're getting there, Rock?
Just follow the signpost, Bullwinkle, see?
Mount Flatten, 10 miles. We're on the right road, Rock.
Yeah, but we must be going too fast. Look, there's a motorcycle following us.
Uh-oh.
Pull over, Bullwinkle.
The boys pulled to the side of the road, and Rocky got out to speak to the approaching officer, but the motorcycle did not slow down.
Hey, that's no policeman, that's...
Look out, Rocky!
And the motorcycle roared right at our friends and then flashed past.
What a crazy driver.
Yeah, look at him, turning that corner on 2 wheels.
Geez, that was close.
Close. Look at my hoofs.
What are those marks, Bullwinkle?
Tire tracks, that's what.
Well, it's all over, Bullwinkle. He must be miles away by now.
But unbelievable though it may seem, Rocky was wrong. For just around the next curve, the motorcyclist had stopped and was changing the road sign, removing one that pointed to a secret military reservation and putting up one that said, "This way to Mount Flatten." Then he hid quickly as our heroes approached.
Bullwinkle, we turn here.
Right, Rock.
And our heroes blithely rode straight into frightful danger. Oh, what foul fiend could do a trick like that? What venal villain? What perfidious scoundrel?
Allow me to introduce myself. Boris Badenov at your service.
Yes, it was true. The mysterious stranger was Boris Badenov, the world's lowest snake in the grass.
Please, no more compliments. You'll turn my pretty hair.
Meanwhile, our heroes, all unknowing, bounced along the road of a top-secret military reservation.
Hey, we're almost there, Rock.
How do you know?
Look at that sign.
Watch out for mines.
Yeah, there must be a lot of them besides ours.
I don't think it means that kind of mines, Bullwinkle.
Well, this time Rocky was right, for at that moment the boys were driving over a field of highly explosive landmines, which were buried a few inches under the ground and ready to go off from the slightest pressure. You'll be here next time, won't you? For The Road to Ruin or Mine Over Matter.
For those of you who want to soak up some extra knowledge, here's Mr. Know-It-All.
Hello, Spongeheads. Today's topic is entitled, How to Remove a Unwanted Guest from Your House and Make More Living Room. Supposing you are on your way home from the butcher shop with 14 hot dogs, and you discover there is a 15th hot dog, one with large teeth and an appetite to match. It is obvious that the 15th hot dog, whom we shall call Spot, has designs on the 14 hot dogs. Just inches ahead of your pursuer, you arrive home safely. Flushed with victory, you examine your 14 hot dogs, only to find that they are now inside Spot. Going to the front door, you flang it open wide and point in the general direction of Boys Town, indicating you wish him to leave. Finding yourself on the outside with the door bolted, you attempt to gain entrance by way of the chimney. En route, you make a sad discovery. Spot is now brewing himself a spot of tea in the fireplace. Fighting fire with fire, we ignite the couch. Soon the fire is completely out of control. The house goes up in smoke. But when the fire has gone out, you discover that Spot has not. 2 days later in your rebuilt home, you sit happily in your Morris chair, finally rid of your unwanted guest.
But Mr. Know-It-All, how did you get rid of him?
Who?
Spot.
Oh, quite simple. I used Spot Remover.
Hello out there. Peabody and Sherman here.
I oiled the Wayback Machine like you told me, Mr. Peabody.
And just in time, Sherman, because we have a date with one of America's greatest patriots.
Ponsonby Britt?
No, Sherman. This patriot made a historic ride on the night of April 18th, 1775. And the man in question, Paul Revere. Without any further ado, the Wayback Machine teleported us back to Paul Revere's copper shop. Inside, we found not Mr. Revere, but rather Mrs.
Can I help you?
Why, yes, madam. We should like to speak to your husband.
So would I. He hasn't been inside the shop for 3 days. All he does is sit on that horse and back, waiting for the British to come.
We wasted no time in joining the eager coppersmith.
Don't stand too close, boys. Soon as I see the lanterns, I'm off to warn Lexington.
But, Mr. Revere, your horse...
No time for idle conversation, lad. I've got some riding to do.
But you don't understand.
One if by land, two if by sea, one if by land.
Mr. Revere, I feel it only fair to warn you that unless you change horses, you won't be riding anywhere.
What are you talking about?
You are sitting on a statue.
Say, how about that? I was wondering why he didn't eat much hay.
Mr. Peabody, there's a light in the tower.
Sure enough, Sherman had spotted the signal.
How many lanterns, boy? 1 or 2?
3.
They must be coming both by land and by sea.
Step back. I gotta warn the country. Giddy up, boy. Giddy up.
Mr. Revere, the statue, remember?
Oh, yes. Sure was a quiet horse, though.
I sent Sherman to search the town for another horse.
This hog was the only animal I could find, Mr. Peabody.
Well, you can't expect me to ride that, can you?
You have no alternative.
Why don't I try to start the statue? You never know. It may run.
And with that, Paul Revere begged, pleaded, even tried to bribe his favorite horse.
Yes, ain't no use. I guess the hog'll have to do.
Unfortunately, the hog was as contrary as the statue.
Golly, Mr. Peabody, he won't budge.
And I gotta get to Lexington to warn the people.
Now, what would cause a hog to run? I have it. Mr. Revere, the magic words are hog fat.
Hog fat?
Look at him go!
Yes. No hog wants to be turned into hog fat.
Well, I guess we can go home now that Mr. Revere's on his way.
I'm afraid not, Sherman. You see, Paul Revere just went north. Lexington is south. Well, by now, there were 5 lanterns in the tower, so the situation, as you could see, was desperate. Sherman and I headed for Lexington as fast as we could. And speaking of Lexington, a certain American general, who shall be nameless, was in town spearheading an enlistment drive.
I tell you, we need soldiers.
And Lexington is proud to do its part, General.
Proud? You mean you're proud of 1 old man and 2 dogs? The dogs we can use, but the old man...
Forgive the intrusion, gentlemen, but we're here to tell you the British are coming.
Oh, did you see him?
No, but we saw the lanterns.
Well, then you mean the lanterns are coming, not the British.
We mean the British are coming.
Oh, I'm sorry, but the only way I'll believe that is when Paul Revere tells me. Now, about those 2 dogs...
But Paul Revere may not get here until it's too late, Mr. Peabody.
He may never get here, Sherman. I have it. Pardon me, General, but I understand you need soldiers.
I sure do.
Well, I don't know whether you're familiar with New England customs, but up here, the only way to get soldiers is to issue the Boston Back Bay battle cry.
I don't think I know it.
Oh, it's quite simple, sir. You merely shout the word "Suey."
Suey?
Suey. Well, 1 minute later, the hills surrounding Lexington were reverberating with that famous old hog call.
Suey! 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 Suey!
Inside of a quarter of an hour, every hog in the vicinity was thundering down Lexington's main street, and among them was our hog-fat hog, carrying Paul Revere.
The British are coming! The British and the hogs are coming!
Golly, Mr. Peabody, what a brilliant idea.
Yes, wasn't it?
That battle cry was an inspiration. So far, we've signed up 420 men. Oh, I tell you, it was unbelievable. I gave that yell in exactly 60 seconds. We had a line.
Would you call them 60-second men, Mr. Peabody?
Of course not, Sherman. I'd call them Minute Men.
Well, our heroes have been tricked into making a detour on their way to Mount Flatton to find Bullwinkle's mine. Their nemesis is, who else, that fiend in human form, Boris Badenov.
Ah, but remember, a fiend in need is a fiend indeed.
Now Rocky and Bullwinkle are bouncing along through a top-secret military reservation.
Sure, a lot of billboards on this road. I can't see the view.
Suddenly, Rocky came to a dreadful conclusion.
Bullwinkle, we're in the middle of a minefield.
Hot diggy!
We better stop.
Yeah, let's start digging.
No, Bullwinkle, I mean landmines.
You were expecting water mines? Oh, that's a good one. Water... Boy, they got pretty noisy dirt in these parts.
I've been trying to tell you, a landmine is kind of an underground bomb.
Oh.
And we're surrounded by them.
Then I guess I won't need the old shovel.
Oh boy, 2 explosions. That should do the dirty trick. Well, cheerio. I'm off to Mount Flatton.
We're off, darling.
What you are doing here, sweetheart?
Keeping you from stealing Moose's mine all for yourself, darling.
Who, me? Honey, pumpkin. Would I double-crossing on partner?
You tell me.
Yes, I would. Okay.
And the two villains zoomed off to jump Bullwinkle's claim to his Uncle Dewlap's mine.
But are you sure Moose and Squirrel won't bother us?
I send them into minefield, Natasha. Listen. Beautiful music. Dangerous landmines.
Which way now, Rock?
Gee, I don't know, Bullwinkle.
Then let's toss a coin.
Okay, heads we go north, tails we go south.
Looks more like we go west.
But Rocky and Bullwinkle weren't the only ones worried about their plight, for all over the area, people were listening to the explosions.
What do you figure it is, Slim?
Thunder, reckon.
Thunder? But it ain't rained here in 40 years.
Yep. I figure rain's just about due.
In a nearby Indian village, the people flocked to their medicine man to find the reason for the noises from the sky. Oh, owl who never sleep is great money too angry.
Ugh, maybe, but more likely as a shock wave produced by an aircraft at a velocity greater than that of sound.
I dig 'em. He says it's probably sonic boom. And at a secret launching pad headquarters in the middle of the desert, there was general consternation and his staff of missile experts.
Gentlemen, this is the most top-secret hush-hush base in the whole country, right?
Yes, General.
Well, listen. Does that sound hush-hush to you?
No, General.
Radar shows there are 2 nitwits wandering around in the minefields. They must be silenced.
Yes, General.
And I don't care how.
Yes, General. And so, in just a few minutes, 2 huge steel monsters rumbled toward our friends, their guns ready to blast them sky high.
Uh-oh. What are they, Rock?
Tanks, Bullwinkle. I said tanks, Bullwinkle.
Oh, do I have to say it?
You better. Our time is running out.
Okay. You're well...
Too late. Be sure to see our next episode, 2 Flying Ghosts or High Spirits.